In a large forest, every day unfolded a series of unique stories, both joyful and sorrowful. To fill their bellies, tragic events of animals preying on each other occurred one after another. This dreadful period seemed endless, causing much pain, bloodshed, and destruction. It shattered the beautiful memories and trust among the animals, corroding their virtues. The forest could no longer find its past peace and tranquility. One evening, as Rabbit Mom ventured out, leaving a few ailing bunny siblings at home, a sinister crow appeared. It snatched the helpless bunnies, turning them into a hearty dinner. Upon Rabbit Mom's return, the heartbreaking discovery left her mourning and vowing vengeance against the crow. Another day, White Weasel suffered a neck injury from a squirrel. In pain, he darted around, occasionally stopping to touch the wounded neck. Blood stained his once pristine chest, and in fear, he stumbled and fell from a tree branch, succumbing to his injuries. A magpie quickly arrived, enjoyed a feast, and flew away content. Bambi's mom, in deep sorrow, remarked, "It seems we can hardly have good days anymore." Aunt Ina sighed. "Indeed. How can we return to the beautiful life we once had? Why are those days gone forever?" Silence fell upon the group as no one understood the current situation, unable to answer Aunt Ina's questions. At that moment, Etla pointed at Bambi and asked, "How is little Gobo doing? Why does he tremble so much?" "Yes, lately he's always shaking and it's getting worse," Aunt Ina said with a heavy heart. "I'm worried something is wrong with him. Forgive my straightforwardness, but I genuinely worry whether Gobo can make it through this winter," the old dear Etla said frankly. Gobo's condition was indeed concerning, tormented by fear and cold. He shivered constantly, sometimes lacking the strength even to stand, let alone run swiftly. Watching Gobo's weakness, everyone was anxious for him, but no one had a good solution to help. "No, I can't explain it. Lately, I've had a foreboding sense that something is about to happen." Suddenly, Prince Lano jumped up from the snow, alertly surveying the surroundings. Recent events had made everyone nervous, observing the forest situation vigilantly. Suddenly, Marina exclaimed, "Did you hear that? It's the crows calling." Everyone looked up at the sky. A group of crows flew from the nearby forest, seemingly escaping some trouble. They flew in flocks, cawing loudly. This wasn't an ordinary issue. As Lano had suggested, something ominous must have occurred. "What should we do?" "We need to figure something out quickly," Bambi's mom anxiously said. However, no one could come up with a good plan all of a sudden. "Let's act quickly. Global feeling. Stay close to me," Aunt Ina told the kids. Unfortunately, the weather was against them. The recent snow had just melted, leaving slippery and muddy paths. They couldn't run fast. They could only proceed slowly. From the forest's edge came a series of jay calls. They were also shouting, be careful," while flying away. Dear friend Hummingbird also sent sharp and loud alarm signals, "Hey." These signs, to the deer, indicated a real disaster approaching, causing them to be terrified, shaking with fear. Sure enough, danger arrived, and with it the scent of blood filled the air. Even more terrifyingly, it brought its third hand, the gun, a dreadful weapon that could harm the deer. The bloody smell wafted with the cold wind, and all the deer were paralyzed with fear, their hearts almost jumping out of their chests. Cries of danger resounded, and the forest was in chaos. All animals scattered, squirrels leaping from tree to tree, mountain birds fluttering in panic, even the mischievous owl becoming serious, using its strange and distinctive voice to warn everyone. Yo, run. Yo, run. Yo, run. Buck Carlos saw rabbits running helter-skelter, and he asked urgently, "What's happening?" The rabbit gasped, We're surrounded. Danger everywhere. And those terrible things that spit fire are here." The stifling smell of blood pervaded the entire forest. This time, danger was not alone. It seemed a real disaster was about to unfold. Many cries of danger followed one after another. These voices were like the roar of the sea, the howling of the wind against fragile grass, and the beating of drums shaking the tree trunks vigorously. People raised the guns in their hands, and with a loud boom, bang, a gunshot rang out. A chicken struggled desperately for a moment, then fell heavily to the ground, lifeless. Ishawanana. "Oh my, the first casualty," Bambi's mom said sorrowfully. Lana remarked, "Not necessarily. There may be companions we haven't seen who have unfortunately perished." Little Bambi had never seen such a scene before. At this moment, he was trembling, unable to move. Seeing her child shaking uncontrollably, Mom comforted, "Stay close to me, Bambi. Don't wander away." Like a magnet, this sentence drew Bambi close, holding on to his mother tightly, not willing to leave her side. Soon, many frightened animals ran in fits and starts, diving into the bushes one moment and hopping out of the snow piles the next. No one spoke. Everyone was overwhelmed by the booming noises. At this moment, Aunt Ina said, "My instincts tell me, Guobo. How is he? Why is he trembling?" "Yeah. Lately, he's been shaking like this, and it's getting worse," Aunt Ina said with a heavy tone. "I'm worried he's in trouble. Forgive my bluntness, but I'm really concerned whether Guobo can make it through this winter," Old Dear Etla said candidly. Guobo's situation was indeed not good. He was tormented by fear and cold. Recently, he had been trembling all the time, sometimes not even having the strength to stand, let alone run fast. Looking at Guobo's weak appearance, everyone worried about him, but there was no good way to help him. "I can't explain it. Lately, I always have a foreboding feeling, as if something is about to happen." Speaking, Prince Lano suddenly jumped up from the snow, looking around alertly. Recent events had made everyone nervous, and they were all on high alert, observing the situation in the forest. Suddenly, Marina shouted, "Did you hear it? It's the cawing of crows!" Everyone immediately looked up at the sky. A group of crows flew from the nearby forest, seemingly escaping from some trouble. They flew in flocks, cawing loudly. It seemed this wasn't an ordinary trouble. Just as Lano had said, something ominous must have happened. "What should we do?" "We need to think of a solution quickly," Bambi's mom said anxiously. But all of a sudden, no one could come up with a good idea. "Let's act quickly. Guobo, fill in. Stay close to me," Aunt Ina instructed the kids. Unfortunately, the weather was not on their side. The recent snow had just melted, leaving the paths slippery and muddy. They couldn't run fast. They could only move slowly. From the edge of the forest came a series of jay calls. They were also shouting, "Be careful, be careful," as they flew away. Dear friend Hummingbird also sent sharp and loud alarm signals. "Hey." These signs for the deer indicated a real disaster approaching, causing them to be terrified and shaking with fear. Sure enough, danger arrived, bringing with it the scent of blood. Even more terrifyingly, it brought its third hand, the gun, a dreadful weapon that could harm the deer. The smell of blood spread with the cold wind, and all the deer were paralyzed with fear, their hearts almost leaping out of their chests. Cries of danger echoed, and the forest descended into chaos. Animals scattered, squirrels leaping from tree to tree, mountain birds fluttering in panic, and even the mischievous owl became serious, using its strange and distinctive voice to warn everyone, "Yo, run, yo, run, yo." Buck Carlos saw rabbits running in all directions and urgently asked, "What's happening?" The rabbit gasped, we're surrounded. Danger is everywhere, and those terrible things that spit fire are here." The stifling smell of blood filled the entire forest. This time, danger was not alone. It seemed a real disaster was about to unfold. "Ha ha, hey yo!" Many cries of danger followed one after another. These voices were like the roar of the sea, the howling of the wind against fragile grass, and the beating of drums shaking the tree trunks vigorously. People raised the guns in their hands, and with a loud boom, bang, a gunshot rang out. A chicken struggled desperately for a moment, then fell heavily to the ground, lifeless. "Oh my." The first casualty, Bambi's mom said sorrowfully. Lilano remarked, "Not necessarily. There may be companions we haven't seen who have unfortunately perished." Little Bambi had never seen such a scene before. At this moment, he was trembling, unable to move. Seeing her child shaking uncontrollably, Mom comforted. "Stay close to me, Bambi. Don't wander away." Like a magnet, this sentence drew Bambi close, holding on to his mother tightly, not willing to leave her side. Many frightened animals ran in fits and starts, diving into the bushes one moment and hopping out of the snow piles the next. No one spoke. Everyone was overwhelmed by the booming noises. At this moment, Aunt Ina said, "My instincts tell me, Guopo, how is he? Why is he trembling?" In the heart of a vast forest, where each day brought forth unique tales of joy and sorrow, a series of unfortunate events unfolded, shattering the once peaceful lives of its inhabitants. The animals, gripped by panic, scattered in every direction, emitting desperate cries. The fox, typically eyeing the rabbits as its prey, was now preoccupied with hiding, paying no attention to its usual feast. A frantic wild chicken dashed forward, emerging from the perilous edge of the forest. While running, it shouted, "Don't take flight. Flying will make you a target. You'll lose your life. Run, run quickly." Before the chicken's warning could fully register, a thunderous roar echoed, and a flying chicken was struck down. Chaos enveloped the forest, leaving everyone bewildered. Several frightened chickens, taking flight, faced a similar fate as gunshots echoed. Boom! Bang! The sounds resembled thunder, followed by the lifeless fall of these unfortunate birds. Lano and Carlos were nowhere to be found, and Etla's whereabouts were unknown. Only a trembling Marina clung to Bambi's mom, afraid to venture far from her side. The continuous gunfire reverberated through the forest, instilling fear in every heart. "Be careful. Don't run randomly, Bambi. Stay calm." Bambi's mom tried to steady herself, saying, "Bambi, stick close to me. Let's find a way to reach the open forest. But for now, we must move slowly to avoid detection." Watching Bambi tremble, his mom comforted him. "Child, be brave. You're a young buck. You must be courageous. When we cross the open ground, remember, run as fast as you can." Following closely, Bambi listened intently, absorbing his mother's advice. He knew now was the time to summon courage. 18. The rabbits moved in fits and starts, darting into bushes one moment and leaping out of snow piles the next. The chickens, mourning their lost companions, had little time to grieve, hopping in and out of the snow in a frenzy. Silence enveloped the forest, broken only by the echoing booms of the approaching danger. As Bambi and his mom navigated the terrain, a new sound emerged, the pounding of wood, accompanied by strange cries. Hey! Ho! Suddenly, Bambi witnessed rabbits startled by the rhythmic beats, causing one to accidentally collide with a tree, collapsing with a loud thud. Gasping for breath, the rabbit, lying on its back, shouted, "Run! Run! If caught, we're done for. They're coming for us." Bambi turned to see the danger approaching, knocking on trees as it advanced. The thunderous beats shook the ground, and the demonic figure shouted loudly, "Child, don't get too close. It's time to escape." Bambi's mom swiftly moved forward. Following suit, Bambi sprinted alongside her. Though tempted to look back at his mom, the relentless gunshots drowned out everything. Whenever he considered stopping, his mom's voice echoed, urging him on. "Run! Don't stop, Bambi!" Gunshots continued to ring out as Bambi, fueled by fear, sprinted through the open ground. Reaching another forest, he didn't halt, uncertain of safety. Turning back, he spotted a wounded chicken in agony, lamenting, "I'm finished. Can't survive." Though sympathetic, Bambi couldn't afford to stop. Ahead, he recognized a familiar figure buried in the snow, Guobo. "Oh no, Guobo, what happened?" Guobo's body half buried. He seemed on the brink. "Get up, quickly, run with me." "Bambi, I wish I could, but I can't run anymore," Guobo weakly gasped, unable to form complete sentences. The howls resumed, and the terrifying sounds enveloped the open forest. Boom, boom, bang. New gunshots followed. Prince Lano arrived from a distance, noticing Bambi's hesitation. He shouted, "Bambi, what are you waiting for? Don't you value your life? Run." With that, Lano dashed ahead. Compelled by urgency, Bambi followed suit. Bambi couldn't help glancing back, wondering if Guobo could escape. Yet he couldn't dwell on it, relentlessly sprinting. Crossing the open ground, he finally reached another forest but didn't stop, sprinting onward. Uncertain of safety, Bambi questioned whether to halt or continue. Suddenly he encountered a sight. A wounded chicken covered in blood, moaning, "I'm done for." Though sympathetic, Bambi pressed forward. Ahead he spotted a familiar deer, Guobo, half buried in the snow. "Oh no, Guobo, what happened?" Guobo seemed near the end, struggling to rise. "Get up, quick, run with me, Bambi. I wish I could, but I can't run anymore." Guobo gasped weakly, his words trailing off. "Ah!" The ominous sounds continued, shaking the forest. Boom, boom, bang, echoed through the night. "It's nothing." Prince Lano rushed in, urging Bambi, "What are you waiting for, Bambi? Don't you care about your life? Run!" With that, Lano sprinted ahead, and Bambi, compelled by urgency, followed. Glancing back, Bambi pondered Guobo's fate. Unable to dwell on it, he continued to sprint. Crossing the open ground, he reached another forest and kept running. Now in trying to temptation. The distant gunshots persisted, and Bambi, filled with fear, pushed forward. As he ran, he couldn't shake the image of his mom being struck. Whenever the thought arose, his mom's voice echoed, "Run, Run, damn, stop. Gunshots continued to echo through the forest. The night fell, and the once booming sounds gradually subsided. The wind dispersed the scent of gunpowder, and the lingering smell of blood dissipated. Yet, the forest's inhabitants remained on edge, traumatized by the recent events. Those who narrowly escaped death were consumed by grief for lost loved ones. How me? Bambi spotted Prince Lano, but his limp seemed more pronounced post-crisis. Did you see my mom, Lano? Bambi anxiously inquired, uncertain if his mom had fallen victim to a gunshot. No. Lano's expression betrayed discomfort, avoiding eye contact with Bambi. As midnight approached, Bambi encountered Philin and Etla, bringing joy amid the somber atmosphere. Philin asked, "Have you seen my mom and brother?" "I saw Guobo. I intended to escape with him, but he couldn't stand up anymore," Bambi somberly recounted. "Later, I just ran away." "I don't know about Guobo." Unable to continue, Bambi's thoughts lingered on the unknown fate of his mom. Philin began to cry, and Bambi consoled him. "Don't cry, Philin. My mom is missing too." Alas, watching the two grieving children, Etla, the old deer, sighed. "I thought I wouldn't have to worry about children. Look, now I have two more to care for." Despite their shared sorrow, Bambi and Philin managed to smile. Yet, beneath the smiles lay the grief of losing Guobo and the yearning for their mothers. Soon, a familiar figure approached from a distance. Aunt Ina had returned. Philin joyfully called for his mom, and Bambi eagerly shouted Aunt Ina's name. Aunt Ina, torn between happiness and sorrow, embraced Philin but couldn't find her youngest son, Guobo. "Oh, Guobo, my poor child." Aunt Ina wept, tears streaming down her face. "I couldn't find Guobo, but I discovered his footprints and the tracks of danger. They must have taken Guobo." Bambi now felt the weight of his mom's absence more than ever. "Aunt Ina, did you see my mom?" he asked, disheartened. "No, child. My poor Bambi." Aunt Ina's response mirrored Bambi's grief. From that day on, Bambi's mom remained missing. No one knew where she had gone, whether captured or killed. From then on, Bambi had to navigate the challenges of life alone. It was, undoubtedly, the most heart-wrenching winter Bambi had ever experienced.